Welcome to the world's #1 fitness business podcast for health club owners, gym managers, and fitness entrepreneurs. As always, this will be a great show as we have another expert to help your fitness business and your career. We'd like to thank our premier sponsor, Active Management, for supporting us, and we highly recommend becoming a member of Active Management to strengthen your business in 2016. There are loads of resources members receive, so join the Active Tribe today at www.activemgmt.com.au. Now that's enough from me. Let's welcome the show's amazing host, Chantal. What's on this week's show?
Harper, this week I'm chatting to Anne Coppens, the chief game changer at Gamification Nation. What's gamification, I hear you ask? Well, you're just going to have to wait and find out because Anne explains everything that you need to know all about gamification and what it means for fitness professionals and business owners. Before I tell you more about Anne and about today's show, I want to first say a quick shout out to one of our sponsors, Rex Roundtables. To find out information about how you can become a member of Rex, check out rexroundtables.com. Now, if you have heard the last couple of shows, you know that I'm doing the rounds asking you all for questions. That's right. So here it is. If you could ask any of our former guests a question, who would it be and what would you ask? I want you to go and hit pause on the podcast right now. Don't delay. Go over to fitnessbusinesspodcast.com, click on my picture, which is top right of screen, and tell me who you would ask and what that question would be. We are currently collecting all of your questions, and in show 50, that's in around May, so about a month and a half's time, you can listen and hear what those answers are. It is super easy, so get involved.
This month, we have an awesome prize for people who subscribe to the show notes at www.fitnessbusinesspodcast.com or engage with the Fitness Business Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or even emailing us. Do it and you may be this month's winner. Now it's time for this week's guest.
It sure is, Harper. Anne Coppens is the chief game changer at Gamification Nation Limited, which offers gamification design services, serious game design, and an online gamification support community. During the show, Anne explains exactly what gamification is all about, what it means for fitness business owners and professionals, how to get started, and how you can take advantage of 2016, the Olympic year, to introduce gamification into your business. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome to the show Anne Coppens, who is the Chief Game Changer at Gamification Nation Limited. Welcome to the show, Anne.
Hi, how are you, Chantal?
I'm very, very well, and I'm very excited to have you on the show because gamification is something that I'm keen to understand and explore a lot more, and I'm sure our listeners are exactly the same. So before we kick into the interview today, how about answering our quick fire 5 questions? Does that sound all right?
Sure, sounds great.
Okay, let's do it. So tell us this. Why do you do what you do?
Because I love games, playing and having fun.
Sounds like a pretty good job.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Fail fast, fail forward and get up again.
Good advice. And what's a personal habit that helps you become better at what you do?
I think it's my willingness to put everything into game context, and that actually makes me do more, makes me achieve more, and makes me continue more.
Interesting. And tell us, Anne, what's one book that you would recommend and why?
Oh, I thought about that one. My favorite and what actually got me into gamification in a big way is Reality is Broken by Jane McGonigal. And she explains why current reality is not as engaging and how things are changing. So the younger generation's mindset is changing, how they've actually, I suppose, spent as much time gaming and playing as they have studying for their next career. So, and how our attention spans are kind of completely different, and probably more, I suppose, advertising size in comparison to maybe our grandparents who had time to read a book at great lengths and maybe research for a lot longer, go to libraries to research, whereas now we want it all and we want it quick.
How true is that? That sounds like a really interesting read. And tell us why should our FBP tribe stick around and listen to the main interview today?
Well, I'm going to share some nuggets that people can put to work without tech, with tech, low tech, high tech. All people should sort of listen in and try and pick up the one thing that they can do tomorrow in their business to make it better.
I think that sounds pretty convincing. Thank you so much for joining us, Anne, and we look forward to checking back in shortly in the main interview. Tribe, that was just a sneak peek of things to come from my interview today with Anne. What I love most about this chat is that I now have a much, much better understanding of gamification, how it can fit into a fitness business, and how instrumental it can actually be for customer retention. And are you ready to Fitspire our global FBP tribe of fitness business owners and managers?
Absolutely.
And are you ready to overload our FBP tribe with pearls of wisdom, strategies for success, and tips to make them better leaders and business people?
I sure will.
Then let's get into the show.
Fantastic.
Anne Coppens is the Chief Game Changer at Gamification Nation Limited, which offers gamification design services, serious game design, and an online gamification support community. The company is based in London and serving clients worldwide. Her solutions are designed to encourage winning behaviours and improve business results in the areas of sales, recruitment, learning, and productivity. Anne is an award-winning business coach, learning and development professional, author, and speaker, and I'm going to tell you about her books a little bit later on today. She's a prolific blogger on gamification through www.gamificationnation.com, that's a mouthful, and tweets under her Twitter handle, which is gamificationnat, N-A-T. But we will put all of those links in today's show notes as per usual. Anne, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Chantal. Lovely to be here.
Now, it's obvious that you have had a lot of success in your career just by that shortened version of the bio that I just shared with our listeners. Surely it can't all be good. Were there any kind of hurdles that you encountered along the way?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, I suppose one of the reasons I went into gamification is actually because I failed miserably in another business. Well, I have to qualify that. I was actually super successful, and then the recession hit, and then had to go from having a team to really building down the business to just about sustainable. Had a lovely office. So first of all, had to let go of my people, then had to let go of the office, and ended up being back in the front room of the house. Wow. And really struggling to make ends meet, and actually considering myself a miserable failure big time. So what I did is at some point, I can't say exactly why or how, but at some point switch clicked with me, and he said, look, in a game, you just play another game. You failed at this game, you lost the game, but you didn't win the war. Life's not over because one business fails. And, a lot of businesses failed at that time. So it was a case of, okay, dust yourself off, get back up again and get started again. And yes, it was hard. I mean, the emotional baggage you carry from one to the other was the biggest thing to get over with. But at the same time, the game mentality was, look, you learned how to win and be successful once. You can do this again. Just apply yourself, try again, try different. And, if something doesn't work, no big deal. You try again, new tactics, as you would in any sport, in any online game even. You would get alive 20 minutes later and you refresh it and you try new things. And eventually it sticks.
That's a pretty amazing lesson that we can probably all take away from. Can I ask, Anne, how long was that process, from when you found yourself back in the front room of the house to then rebuilding? How long did that rebuilding process take?
Emotionally, probably the longest. In terms of practicalities. It was probably about a year. So I gave myself a year. And then in between closing that business and starting a new one, I worked for somebody else for a while. And in a way that was good mentally to just get over it and to just, I suppose, also to get my mind straight again, because I was really rock bottom, confidence-wise, rock bottom, and had a lot of poor me syndrome. So I was like, okay, I needed to get back into a place where I actually felt, okay, I'm good, I'm worth something, I can do this. So all in all, I would say it was 3 years in between the two, and then 5 years before I started the business.
Wow. Interesting. Thank you for sharing that with us. Now,
you're welcome.
You're all about gamification. So let's dive into that topic, because I'm going to be totally honest. Until a few months ago, I had not even heard of the word gamification. So do you want to start by telling us what it is all about?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's lots and lots of interesting misconceptions about it. So gamification is a made-up word. So it's not real, but what it does is it's applying game elements that come from sports, that come from video games, that come from board games, card games, to non-game situations, like, for example, achieving good health, to business, to HR, to marketing, to growing. So anywhere where you can possibly see a process, that's where you can apply game theory as such. I would call it 80% game psychology. So how do you get people into the mindset of winning? How do you get people into the mindset of achieving? And then 20% actual mechanics and know-how from games, such as rules, leaderboards, competitions, and all the fun stuff like that most of us who've been in sports probably encounter at some point or other. So that's what it is in a nutshell. And then there's a whole load of variations on top of that in ways that you can express it.
Okay. So, and earlier on you mentioned a book, and you mentioned that was a bit of a motivating factor. Tell us, how on earth did you become an expert in gamification?
Yes, good question. First of all, I think I was always into games. In fact, when I was very little, I was making crosswords as a 12-year-old for a gentleman who was a lot older, but who appreciated me making bespoke games for him. So that was one thing. And all the way through my career, I used game techniques unbeknownst of there being such a thing as an industry. And it is the book, Reality is Broken, from Jane McGonigal, made me realize, in fact, this is a skill I have to share, because even in my coaching business, I used game elements, stories, little challenges, missions for people to complete, to keep the coaching fun, but also people to achieve results and feel good about it. So for me, it was very much a case of I keep applying what I do. Now, in order to be recognized as an expert, I then delved into every single course that I wanted to learn. Every guru that had ever been in the field, I basically studied with them. And I made sure I absorbed everything there was to learn from others in the field, and found out that actually a lot of what I was applying by trial and error was actually what they were promoting officially. And they had some frameworks with it. They had some really good, useful tools that I could use, so it could speed up how I implemented things with people a lot faster. So, and now blogging about it 3 times a week for the last 2 years, or even longer, I think it's nearly 3 years, I definitely made a name for myself in the industry. Mm-hmm. We have a thing in the gamification industry called the Gamification Guru Leaderboard. Mm-hmm. And that's where everybody in the world sort of gets tracked for their social sharing and wisdom sharing on the topic of gamification. And since the beginning of 2015, I'm in the top 10. Haven't left
awesome.
it. Yay, exactly. And leading lady in Europe, I have to say.
You see, Tribe, we only have the best guests on our show, you know. That's brilliant, Anne. So, I mean, it's obvious just by hearing you speak about it that you're passionate about gamification, that it's something that is very close to you. I mean, what is it that interests you so much in this area?
Yeah, I love to see people win. So, and I've always been like that. Actually, as a youngster, I played competitive sports. I was a competitive basketball player. I've sailed competitively. I've done triathlons, marathons, you name it. I used to do it. Anything crazy enough that I could challenge myself with, I did it. but I was very self-motivated in my mind. So I always set a little goal and then another little goal. So to transfer that onto others was easy for me. So, and I think that's what I love as a young person, having been in national divisions in basketball. I also was a coach for a young boys team. They were all their first entries into the game of basketball. And what I loved was seeing them all achieve what they needed to achieve. I still remember to this day, I had two young boys. One, Kevin, who was an absolute street kid, would try everything. And he actually had a natural flair to go and do things. But he wanted to run so fast and score so much that often he was too quick and it didn't go right. So his first task was to learn to slow down, take it easy, and then in a controlled way, score his first point. Mm-hmm. Now, when he scored for the first time, the first thing he did was he turned around and he looked at me. Now, if I had not been the first one to be screaming and shouting, "Hey, fantastic, well done," he would have sort of shrugged it off and not felt like he achieved anything. Yeah. And actually by doing that, and I had the same for another chap, and he was called Tom. Tom was afraid of the ball, and Tom was sent to basketball by his parents because he needed to learn how to be more social with other children. So he was a bit shy in all settings. But Tom was afraid of the ball, which is sort of annoying in basketball. So he would duck when the ball come flying at him, or he'd push it away, or he'd touch it for a bit and then pass it to somebody from the other team. So it was a challenge. So we trained on getting him to the level of, okay, let's just catch and hold. And that was his first challenge. And it was actually really interesting to be able to personalize what he needed to learn to him and then to give the encouragement he needed. Now, for anybody else in the team, that would not have been good enough. But for him, that was exactly where he needed to go first before he could progress to the next step. And so the first time he did that in the game, same thing happened as with Kevin. He looked at me and I was the one cheering at the sign saying, "Yeah, hey, fantastic, Tom, great." And we had learned a drill so that one of the other guys in the team would come and collect the ball and then they would play from there. But he was beaming. That young man grew 5 inches there and there, But it's that made me realize, there's such power in games. Mm-hmm. Now, I would have been probably about 19 at that point. And all the way through my career, all the way through business, I kept up that sort of mindset. It's like, if I can just make people feel good about what they're doing, they'll do that little bit extra. And to be honest, it's always worked for me. So, no matter what I did, people wanted to achieve and wanted to do some things. And, I love it. I love seeing them win. So that's why I love what I do.
And you and I spoke earlier about Robbie Kelman-Baxter and her book, The Membership Economy. And as you know, we interviewed Robbie back in show 21. One of the things that Robbie said is that with gamification, it provides external motivation before internal motivation kicks in. Is that something that you'd agree with?
It's a combination of the two. I mean, gamification can attract people in, which is sort of the carrot to draw them in. But then how we continue has to come from ourselves. Now, in health and in sports, the interesting thing that happens is when we get our endorphins going, our positive, happy feeling hormones, we want more of the same. So most people who are good in sports will know that, to get started, they need a little bit of extra push or pull motivation. But then to keep going once they've started, it's easier to keep going. So there is an element of truth in that. I would always say is if you can appeal to both sides, the extrinsic as well as the intrinsic motivators, then you're on a double winner. So the sports bunnies that always go to the gym, they'll always go to the gym, but you can encourage them to take it to a new level. And those people will be super motivated to do that. The ones that need a bit of a push to come back and to resurface in the gym, they're the ones where exactly that external motivation may work more. So, hey, we have a social get together, might get them going. Or we're starting a challenge. Would you like to come? It's for beginners. Those things will work for the ones that need that extra bit. So if you can appeal to both in anything you do, then you're actually really capturing what people are after. So I would tend to agree, and then some.
Tell us this, what would you say makes a good game?
What makes a good game is if you have a strategy to get people started, a strategy to help people to take the first step. So most computer games, if you've ever tried your Candy Crush or your Angry Birds or, all those little ones that you play on tablets or mobile phones, they usually have a very easy way to get you started. So the first couple of levels are always easy with a simple tutorial, typically with an arrow that points what you need to do, how to crush the candy, how to fire the pig to kill, or how to fire the Angry Bird to kill the pigs. Those things are easy. And then once you're into it and slightly hooked, then they become harder, and then they become more difficult, and you get a bigger sense of achievement when you do clear levels. So a good game has an increasing level of difficulty, but good attraction strategies make it easy for people to achieve and then really get them sort of hooked on the buzz. And some games have an end game. Not every game should have. But for example, some games are just limited in terms of time or limited in terms of things that you can win. If you think about game shows on TV, once somebody has won the prize, it's game over. And that's fine, because that's exactly the purpose of the game. Whereas things like the Candy Crushes and the Angry Birds, they'll keep going forever until you stop using it.
Okay, let's talk about gamification within our businesses. I mean, if, say, for example, we set up a game within our business, within our fitness business,
yep,
what would you say, can you put a percentage on how many members you would expect to participate in that game?
Right. So initially you want to appeal to the ones that are going to always do whatever you ask them to do, which is usually 10% of the people that you work with, in my view. And then with gamification, you can increase that between 20 and 40% more, which is for a lot of businesses exactly that tipping point that they need to get to in order to get really full out traction. So I would never, I suppose, promise to nudge it to 200 or 300%, because that's not reality. Most of us gradually increase, and that's the same with gamification. If you set up a good solid game in your business, initially you have a few people trying it out, then you'll have a few more, and it's the word of mouth and the sort of the buzz you create around the game that will get more and more people in. So it's important to also include that. So just launching a game won't make it successful. It's that combination of the game, the buzz, people seeing other people achieve and saying, oh, I want a bit of that. And that's how you get a really good bit of traction. So build it up slowly, introduce different things at different times in order to get them to increase the participation. But if you start at 10% participation of those that are already there and look for 20 to 40%, that's a number that's achievable.
And are you able to give us any specific examples, say, within a fitness environment of how you can increase it? Because you mentioned things like word of mouth and stuff like that. Are there any examples that you might be able to give us on increasing the percentage?
Yeah. So if, for example, challenges are an interesting tool for attracting new members as well as getting your existing members to be engaged. So a challenge can be themed around something that is happening. So, for example, in London, one gym I used to go to had a London Triathlon Challenge. Mm-hmm. Now, the London Triathlon took place in the month of August, typically a month where most people are sort of in London at least, on summer holidays, or it's a bit slow. So you need that extra bit of pull to do and achieve something. So the challenge was to get people to run, swim and cycle on a regular basis and to record it. And in fact, you played against yourself really to be the best achiever in your own right. So that little bit quicker, that little bit further, you set your own goal. Or you could opt to compete against other club members, which some really fanatical people got to do. Mm-hmm. And, for me, it was my way back in, because I had slipped in July and then went back in August. And I said, oh, yeah, triathlon challenge. That's exactly what I need to get started again. And it's that time just before school starts for most in the UK. So it worked really well, and it combined really well with people's lifestyle. Now, that time of the year is usually quiet. Mm-hmm. So what they achieved was that they had more members coming back in on a regular basis, because one of the things was that you had to complete it over a 4-week period, and you had to work out on those 3 items at least 2 every time you came. So either run and swim or run and cycle. So you had to do a bit of, I suppose, juggling to make sure that you hit the challenge. And that worked. You did have a higher percentage of people in the club. And then you also had fun because people won prizes. The biggest achievers won extra branded goods. So there was something in it for everyone. And when you participated, you also got encouragement by email on your membership account. So it was actually quite well organized and quite good fun. So the exact numbers, I honestly can't tell you. But at the same time, from perceiving what was happening in the gym, it did definitely cause more people to be there, because you had to book in advance to take certain classes, etc. So it was harder to get your place in.
I think that's a great example, because I'm sure that lots of our tribe can actually relate to that, given that those body transformation, those challenges are so big all around the world at the moment.
Yeah.
Let's say if you were in charge of setting up that particular experience for a member, it sounds like they had ticked a lot of the boxes and it was a great experience. Is there anything else that you would have added to maybe increase excitement or fun or even adherence for that particular fitness facility?
Yeah, I would have also leveled. So if I was a beginner, I would want to be paired up against beginners. If I was a bit more advanced, I would want to be in my league as such. So I would have had people opt into whatever level they felt they were sort of belonging to, and also have some personal trainers verify that was true, so people couldn't cheat, because you will have that too. Any type of gameable system people will do. And then I would have organized some classes to specifically zone in on that. Now, they didn't do the organized classes. They did have very good personalized messaging. So, but to get started, that's what I would have definitely done, is say, hey, come and join the beginners group. We'll all start off together. You'll get to know new people, so that you're tapping into the social aspect of it as well. So I would have added that in as an extra, so people can opt to do it in a group, because we also know that if you have a buddy, you're more likely to actually stay doing it than whereas if you're doing it on your own, the motivation stops with your sports bag and you. So, it's easier to negotiate out than to stay going. So from that perspective, that's what I would have done. But the buzz was good. The buzz was active, and keeping that up takes a bit of effort. So if you're going to run a challenge, think it through from the start, and then make sure that all of the team is totally behind it, and, can totally message it through to your members. So that's from the girl at reception that welcomes people, to posters in the dressing room, to anything you say in messaging online to make people aware, hey, this is happening, and that people can check their progress and how they're doing in comparison to others, but mainly in comparison to themselves. So those are the key elements I would definitely encourage people to do. And actually, this year, 2016, is fabulous for challenges because you have the Olympics.
Yes, very good point. So coinciding with or riding off the back of the Olympics.
Absolutely. Olympics provide fantastic ground. You can pick any sport, any number of things. You can have an Olympic ring challenge. You can have, all sorts of analogies on, let's say, do you want to become the record holder? Do you want to become the champion? Do you want to become the bronze, the silver, the gold medalist? I mean, you can play with that. It's, for me, that's always great fun. It's a great year for fun.
And it's obvious based on what you've just run us through that there is a lot of organisation involved in setting up some type of game within our facility. Tell us this. Do you find that all gamification concepts need to use technology?
No, not at all. Actually, some of the best working gamification can be done just with a simple whiteboard and a pen. So a leaderboard, for example, you can draw up as long as the rules are clear, the point system is clear, and the tracking can be done just by people actually taking it down with pen and paper. You can do it. So it doesn't have to be. Saying that, a lot of your members will have apps like Runkeeper, Fitbits. So a lot of them are used to that kind of already existing technology. So where possible, if you're going to use anything technological, try and get the data from them, or have a system inside your gyms or your membership systems where you can get people to log what they do. Now, there's a number of apps out there that can allow you to do the same. So came across one recently where you could set as a gym a challenge to trek around the world. And as a group, people could sign up to it, but also as individuals. So, and the system allows you to have, let's say, 5 to 10 to hundreds of people taking part, or just one person. And they set the goal where they want to go. So if I decide I want to walk from Sydney to London, no big deal. It can be done. The app tracks it. All I need to do is log in and tell the system, say, hey, today I walked 5K, or I ran 5K, or I cycled. And that will add to my tally to go towards my walk from Sydney to London. So those systems are there. So I can definitely always recommend Google it. Google's your friend on this one. Or ask me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm usually a good source of random information like that.
I think it's good to know that, if you're a single operator, or for any of our personal trainers that are listening, that it is possible to get this type of gamification up and running in our businesses for little to no investment if you want to start at that level, as you said, the whiteboard example, or of course moving into more of the technology side. And I want to explore that a little bit more, because you have actually been working on the Active Management Membership 2.0, Great Game of Fitness Leadership, which JT mentioned in the show a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. So do you want to explain how gamification could be used in professional development by any of our FVP tribe? Perhaps you can use the active management as an example.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't want to give too much of the game away, don't want to get people to be too excited and cheat. But you may have noticed that when you are reading things and taking part and commenting, that there are points being given for every activity that you do. So, and I would encourage anyone that is in business, and if you want people to go further, is that you do give them points for everything that they do in your membership or in your business, so that people always want to do that little bit more. Mm-hmm. Then you give them something to strive for. So there will be a few challenges coming up. So we're working in the backgrounds on a few, let's say, I think there's a 20-day challenge, there's a 30-day challenge, and there's ongoing challenges that you'll be exposed to, where basically one activity will lead to another, which ends up in getting you further to the goal that most of you signed up with, to active management, to grow your business, to expand your network, to actually be better in business. So we're basically setting up the challenges to encourage exactly what it is you wanted to achieve in the first place, but then to reward you and to spur you on and give you that positive messaging. So you may notice that there are messages, hey, well done, you have achieved, or hey, well done, you have unlocked. And those things are typically the feel-good messages that we want people to experience more often, to make sure that they hit the next bit of development, the next goal. We know, or I know for sure, that if I encourage people, people will do more and achieve more. If I don't say them how they're doing or don't give them any feedback whatsoever, it's up to you. And that's a hard measurement. So giving people a yardstick is good. So on the personal profile, on your membership profile, you'll see a bit of a trophy box of the various badges, the various achievements that you've reached. You'll also, every time you log into the system, get a message to say, hey, welcome back. Or if you are consistently logging in, there's rewards for consistency. You could even, I believe, win dinner and personal time with JT. So I think that's quite exciting.
Great
so
incentive. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's little things that we've built in. Now, I'm specifically vague because I don't want to give away too much. But basically, action gets your reward and consistency gets your rewards. So that's what we want.
No, that's great, Anne. As a matter of fact, I logged in initially, I think it must have been a week or 2 weeks ago when 2.0 initially launched. And I really enjoy, what I've been enjoying is that personalization, having your own profile set up and that type of thing, and the interaction that I'm receiving back from being involved.
The system.
Yeah, within the system, which is really, it's nice. And as you say, like just having the acknowledgement, the rewards, that type of thing is great interaction to have. So
most people in the health and sports industry are actually like ducks to water with gamification, because if you think about it, you've all achieved something by doing the work you do. So, and this is the one thing I want people to take away as such, is like, look, it doesn't have to be difficult. Start easy, even just a 5-day challenge. Eat healthy, do healthy sports activities, just short challenges to get people started. Try it out. And then keep going. Don't just try it once, because, the thing with gamification is all the games we know have more than one campaign to get you started. We typically, it takes, and this is market research that tells us, it takes us 6 touches before we will do anything. So if you try only one campaign ever, you're basically not setting yourself up to win. You want to try at least 6. And at least then you know for sure whether it has worked or not worked. And in those 6, I guarantee you some of them will stick. And I think that's key, is just keep on at it, keep at it, and keep putting it out there in a very positive way. It will make everyone win.
There you go, Tribe. That's great advice to listen to. So don't give up too early. Hang on and keep persisting. And you've already given us a huge amount of information, and we're so grateful for what you've shared with us today. Is there anything else, any other tips that you might like to give us on gamification?
I suppose the key is start small, and, don't try to run before you can walk. So start small, do small things, and then level it up from there. So see what JT is doing in active management, because you'll learn a lot of what we've set up and what we've talked about. It's taken us a number of months to get to that point. So if you think it's going to happen overnight, no, think again. But if you want to do something for the Olympics, it's a great year to do it. Pick maybe one sport or pick a number of sport. If you're dealing with individuals, the heptathlon or the pentathlon can provide you with great opportunity to be flexible with all the sports that you can offer and play with. So it's a great year to start building on gamification and keep going. I would nearly steal a major sportsman's sort of tagline and say, just do it.
Actually, here we call it JDI, because for copywriting purposes. But we all know what it means. We all know what it means. And just to finish up on today, I think quite often it can be a scary thing to bring change into your business. Can you maybe leave us today with your very best Fitbizpiration, say top 3 tips on starting gamification within a fitness business?
Okay. First tip is set a challenge that everybody can take part in, from the beginner to the most advanced, say, gym bunny or sports person that you have on your membership. So one challenge that can suit all, and you can have different levels in it. Then make the messaging as positive as if you were that coach on the sideline that sees Kevin or Tom turn around for the first time when they achieve their goal, and be that guy or girl that says, "Yay, well done." So make that positive messaging super key of everything that you do. And then give them something to aim for, whether that's a prize, whether that's a badge, whether that's a certificate, whether that's a special dinner with you, whether that is, let's say, an extra session for free, something that they can aim for. So set the bar not too easy, especially for the more advanced people you deal with, but make it valuable for them to put in the work and to then get out what you need to get out. So make it very relevant to your service offering. So if you offer yoga, do it with yoga. If you offer running or a gym, make it variable, because that will keep them coming back. And yeah, just do it. JDI. I love it. JDI.
And thank you so much. I have got so much out of our chat today. I really, really do appreciate your time. I know you're extremely busy, and thank you. We are going to be putting contact details for Anne in our show notes. Anne has also written, actually, before we finish up, do you want to tell us a little bit about the books that you've written?
Yeah, I've written 4. Well, as you do, yes. In a gamified way, right? I suppose the most relevant for the people in the show is Gamification in Business. It's a downloadable ebook, so it can fly to anywhere you want as long as you have email. And that's basically touching on what is gamification, where has it been used, what have people learned, what are the do's and the don'ts. And then later this year, I will have one coming out about the strategy of gamification and how to look at it from a strategic perspective. So it's competing from the inside out with gamification. So that's really to help you think about, okay, if I want to reach my people, you got to talk to your people first to find out what they want. You know what they want, you offer it to them, but in a fun way. So that's sort of the core gist of the messaging. But that will be out probably just before the Olympics.
Good timing.
Exactly.
And thank you so much. We will put links to all of those books in the show notes, along with your website and contact details, Twitter handle, all that type of jazz. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Fitness Business Podcast.
You're very welcome. And I really loved talking to you. And thank you so much for the opportunity to share my ideas with you.
The Fitness Business Podcast is very appreciative of our podcast partners. Here's a quick word from one of our partners.
As you know, one of our goals at the Fitness Business Podcast is to help you grow your business. So I love it when I can tell you about solutions to help you do just that. One of our podcast sponsors is Tribe Team Training, and I'll tell you exactly why you need to remember that name. Let me start by asking you 3 questions. Is your club struggling to grow your membership numbers because of more and more competition? Is your club under pressure to reduce membership fees for your existing members? Do you lose members who go to niche small group programs like CrossFit, boot camps, and boxing, where they often pay double what they're paying with you? Well, the good news is that some clubs have found a new way to grow their club's revenue and profit without having to sell extra memberships. They're doing this by implementing a highly profitable small group training system called Tribe Team Training. In fact, one regional club with only 600 members takes over $200,000 per year on top of their membership fees from their Tribe Team Training program. So, what's it all about? Well, Tribe Team Training is a complete small group training business system that helps clubs make more money without having to sell more memberships. Whether you're currently running small group training or not, it is worth taking the time to see what Tribe Team Training can add to your business. In fact, some clubs have grown to over 30, 40, and 50 sessions per week, with members paying $10 to $15 extra per session. Most clubs have underutilized space or time that can be generating extra cash for the club, extra work for the trainers, and the Group X instructors, plus delivering outstanding results for members. The Tribe programs work on large exercise floors and in small functional training spaces with as little as 60 square metres. You may have already have functional training equipment, but without the consistent delivery of fresh programs, it's difficult to take maximum advantage of it. Now, regardless of the success of your current programs, Tribe is offering club owners a free online briefing so you can see for yourself the difference between team training and small group training, the difference it can make to your members, the opportunities it gives to your trainers and instructors, and the extra income it can add to your club. So, to register for your free briefing, all you need to do is head over to tribeteamtraining.com or tribeteamtraining.com.au. Let me tell you those addresses again. It's tribeteamtraining.com or tribeteamtraining.com.au. And of course, a copy of both of those website links will be in today's show notes.
It's time for the Fitness Business Podcast Wrap.
Okay, Tribe, here are my top takeaways from this week's show. Anne said that we must appeal to the intrinsic and extrinsic motivators of our members in gamification. The carrot gets them started, but true motivation keeps them going. It's the word of mouth and the buzz that you create around the game that will get more and more people involved. Challenges are a great way to get fitness members and clients engaged with your business. If you're going to run a challenge, however, think it through from the start and make sure that your team is completely behind it. Do short challenges to get people started. Try out at least 6 different ways to reach your members and your clients. And don't forget, this year is an Olympic year. It's a great time to introduce gamification into your business. Even consider stealing a few ideas from the sports that are featured during the Olympics. Tribe, as you know, we like to keep you up to date with the new and exciting things that are happening in the fitness industry. And today, we're looking at a new digital product that will soon be coming to the market called Air Active App. I'd like to welcome to the show one of the co-founders of Air Active App, Jo Russell. Now, Jo has spent over 30 years in the health and fitness industry. She owns a chain of clubs called Recreation in Melbourne, Australia, and has worked in all facets of the business. Welcome to the show, Jo.
Thanks, Chantel. It's great to be here.
Do you want to start off by telling us about the Air Active App?
Yes, look, Air Active really consists of 2 parts. It's an app where users who are just the public really can search and book and pay for health and fitness classes and activities rather than trying to go into a health club or manage a website, navigate through it, trying to find what they want and where. Today's millennials and today's consumers really want to use a phone, an app, stay at home, sit in their home, find activities within 3 kilometres of where they are at the time they want, the price they want, book and pay for it, share it with their friends on social media, and come straight into something that they're already connected with. So that's really what the app will do for the consumer. For the club owners, like people like me, we've always got empty spaces in our classes and indeed on the gym floor. And, our costs are set. So whether the class is half full or fully full or the gym half empty, it doesn't change our finances. So the idea of getting people into our empty space, creating income and making that full in casual use is absolutely very, very attractive to people like club owners and studios and 24/7 gyms.
Jo, do you want to tell us who your primary target audience is for the app?
Yes, well, in the general public, there's people who are committed to exercise and they will pay for a membership and they're happy to come 2 or 3 times a week. And we find that in any population, that's about 15% of people will be those kind of people. But there's 85% who are really not ready for membership. It's not really the thing that they're looking for, but they're happy to come just on a casual visit basis with no commitments, no strings attached. Just come to one class here, try it, one class there, go to a different place each time, maybe settle into one facility if they want. So we're really going after the 85% of the Australian population that are currently not in health club membership. So this is really a wonderful thing to motivate a whole population. It's also a wonderful thing for the health club and the studio owners because we're not targeting membership type people and we don't own memberships. AirActive is not a membership-based owning app. So that means that my membership base in my club is quite protected because the people who would come 2 or 3 times would still be better in membership, and indeed those casual visitors who have been engineered by AirActive into our facilities can then probably make a membership decision if that's going to be of benefit to them. So it's a great lead generator as well as a great motivator of the vast majority of our population.
Okay, so Jo, when you look then at the flip side of it, because as I mentioned to you earlier, I was on your website this morning and had the opportunity to sign up as a group fitness instructor and kind of build a profile. Do you want to tell us about that side of the app?
Yeah, that's really exciting because we all know that a class is really, the experience is to do with the instructor. I mean, there's 4 walls and then there's the person who is leading the class. And so when an AirActive user comes to book a class, they will see, how much it costs, when it is, where it is, and they'll also see who the instructor is, what the instructor is rated at, a little profile on that instructor, as well as a profile of what the class is. So if the instructor is being rated, they might go to a 5-star rated instructor. Now, that's wonderful for the instructor because they can then have their value and recognition made clear, which is often, unheard of. And also the club can get some profile where people can follow instructors prepared to pay more for a good instructor. And I think it helps them to know that their performance in that hour in your studio will be rated and we're going to get the very best out of our instructors and trainers as well.
It's a really interesting addition and really look forward to following that and checking out how that goes. Now, for this next question, I'd like to welcome to the show another member of the AirActive app team, the Digital Marketing Manager, Tim Fraser. Welcome to the show, Tim.
Thanks for having me, Chantel.
Now, I thought you might be the best person to ask this question. Can you tell us, when it comes to usability of the app, how easy is it for people to get up and running?
It's all about the user experience. It's really simple. Basically, we've got 4 screens on the app. For users, they can search, book and manage within seconds, basically. And for providers and instructors, within minutes, you can upload your class schedules and activities.
That sounds terrific. It sounds pretty straightforward to me.
Yep, it is.
And Chantal, the other really good thing about uploading the classes is that when I upload my classes, I can put as many or as few classes as I like onto the app, so I don't have to put all of my schedule. I might have some classes that are very full. Then I can choose the price. Now, this is the key thing. See, I don't have to have all my classes at the same price, and no one else is going to dictate to me what my prices are. That's up to me. So I've got control of the business, and I might charge a high level, like maybe a $20 or $25 fee for a very full class with only a few spaces in it. I might put only 3 spaces available. But then I might have a struggling class at 6 a.m. with only 4 people in it. I don't want to cancel the class. I'm going to make it only $6, and I just want to have a lot of bookings in there to bring that class up, and I might say I've got 30 spaces in that class. So when you go into the end, as Tim says, it's very simple to put in a class, what do I want to charge for it, how many spaces do I have. It's in a click of a button, and I can't even use an app. So for me to be able to look on the screen and have a little screen thing going around in a video showing me what to do, I said to Tim, even I could do that, and that means a lot. So I'm pretty excited about it.
That sounds great. So from a consumer perspective, how do they pay? Do they pay through the app or do they pay when they arrive at your door?
Yep, that's it. So in terms of registering with the app, it's completely free.
Yep.
So you can search and look around. But in terms of making a booking, you'll need to put in your credit card into the app. And from there, it simply takes once you make a booking and confirm, the payment will be done through that credit card.
Okay, terrific. So I'm sure that people can contact you to talk about that side of things further. Okay, Jo, so let me ask you this. How much then does it cost for a club to be involved in AirActive app?
Well, this is a fantastic thing, Chantel, because the AirActive app will reach hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people, and yet the club cost will be absolutely nothing except for a $3.50 booking fee each time someone books a casual activity. Now, that means that from the provider point of view, you're only paying the $3.50 booking fee if you're actually making much more than $3.50. So there's no outlay. It's all inflow. There is no upfront cost for a provider or an instructor or a personal trainer who can also upload their dead times between clients to put in a session and get a booking, all for $3.50 flat fee across all activities.
Sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah.
The next question I have for you and the last question I have for you is how, if one of our listeners want to get involved, what is the first step that they need to take?
Yep, easy. Just visit airactiveapp.com. All the details are on there to register on our portal, or go to the App Store and Google Play Store where you can download the user app experience as well. So that's airactiveapp.com.
Excellent. Sounds nice and easy. Joe and Tim, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you, Chantel.
I'd like to say a very warm welcome to the show to the CEO of Australian Fitness Network, Ryan Hogan. Welcome to the show, Ryan.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
We're very excited to have you here today because you're going to give us a bit of an update on Filex 2016. Now, I'm sure that most of our listeners, if not all of our listeners, know about Filex. So do you want to start by telling us how long has Filex been running for?
Well, this is our 21st Filex and the third one we're holding in Melbourne. So it's a big number. 21 is a big number in some places, so it's good. Yeah.
That's very exciting. And tell us a little bit about this year's event.
Well, geez, I think if I had to describe this year's event in a couple of words, I would say innovation, doing things differently, trying a few new things. We really, we're always trying to think, how can we make Filex a little bit different or a little bit bigger or a little bit unique? And we really tried to do that this year by approaching a number of different ways. We realized how important coaching and all the mindset change thing is for personal trainers and even at the management level. We introduced a whole coaching and behavior change stream, which is pretty exciting. Mm-hmm. We're also taking the chance to highlight some incredible women in the fitness industry with the inaugural Women of Influence lunch happening on the Saturday. And we've got a really exciting event called Meeting of the Minds, which is happening on Thursday, which is like a TED-type day for high-level PT. So, yeah, look, innovation, change, growth, that's how I would describe it, really.
That's really exciting and obviously something for everyone in there. So if you had to describe as people have attended the event and walking away from the event, what's kind of your expectation of what they would take away from the couple of days?
Well, hopefully a bit of inspiration, a little bit of excitement, some new training tips and tools. But, one of the things that we try and do for Filex every year is come up with a theme for the event. And 2016's theme is realizing potential. So my sincere hope is that anyone who attends the event over, 3 days or 4 days is going to walk away with some ideas on how they can really realize the potential, whether it's in their business or whether it's in their classes or whatever. That's what I hope for.
So talking about who would be attending, who is the ideal candidate to attend Filex?
Well, Filex is a convention or a conference, whichever term you like to use, for the fitness industry, and it's for fitness industry professionals. So really anyone who works in the fitness industry, whether you're a group fitness instructor or a personal trainer or a group trainer, or you're a club owner or you're a club manager, sales consultant, sales director, really anything. And by the way, it goes even beyond that. People who work in the areas that some may consider fringe, like yoga teachers or Pilates teachers, or even we even have some physiotherapists that come to the event because they just love the energy of it, as opposed to some of the more clinical conferences out there. So really anyone who's involved on a day-to-day basis with the fitness industry.
Okay, so what's the easiest way for people to go on and book tickets to attend?
www.filex.com.au.
That's pretty easy.
Pretty easy, yeah, it's pretty easy. It has the full program details, including all the sessions, the speakers, the strands, all the information about the keynote, the pre-convention workshops and stuff. And it also leads directly into the portal where you can sign up and buy your registration package.
That sounds awesome. And I know I've taken a really good look at the program for this year, and there's some fantastic sessions that are going to be on across the board. So I know I can personally say I'm very excited. I can't wait to be there this year. Is there any final comments that you wanted to add for today, Ryan?
No, look, we just love to see as many of you as possible, or as many of our listeners, your listeners as possible, attend. It's 28th of April to the 1st of May at the Melbourne Convention Centre. Most of the events these days are held in the Melbourne Convention Centre, so there's not too much happening around. Keep in mind as well, the expo, the largest fitness expo in the Southern Hemisphere, runs concurrently along with Filex at the Melbourne Exhibition Centre. It's just a big weekend. If you work in the fitness industry, whether it be part-time, full-time, you really, really should be there. And I know I'm biased, but I'm saying that.
That's all right. I completely second you and your opinion. It is a fantastic few days down there, and good idea to book early as well. I know from experience, great to book your tickets early and book your accommodation early as well. So
Absolutely.
If you're attending from out of state. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us on the show today and giving us a bit of an update on Filex 2016.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Don't forget, this month you can win a copy of People by You, a fantastic book by Jeb Blount, who just happens to be a guest on the show in a few weeks' time. For the chance to win, simply subscribe to the show notes at fitnessbusinesspodcast.com or engage with the Fitness Business Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or you can even email us. Do it and you may be this month's winner. Tribe, thanks for joining me for another week of the Fitness Business Podcast. And remember, what you leave behind is not what's engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others.
Great show this week that you should be suffering DOMs, delayed onset mind soreness, as you are overloaded, and that's when your mind is strengthened. You and your business have been strengthened thanks to the amazing support of our premier sponsor, Active Management. Check out www.activemgmt.com.au only if you want to strengthen your business and your leadership. Don't forget, all today's links and notes are found at www.fitnessbusinesspodcast.com, where you can also subscribe and never miss a show and maybe win a prize. Next week is another incredible guest with Chantal, so get ready for more Fit Bizpiration.